Hello everyone and welcome to my channel and another video about immigration to Canada. In today's video I'm planning to continue to talk about what we started in previous videos. Previously I talked to you about the official website if you were planning to immigrate to Canada, which is what I'm on right now, cic.gc.ca. And I also talked to you about the language requirements. Anyone applying to immigrate to Canada as a pharmacist or as a skilled worker needs to have their language requirements in place before they apply. Basically, take the IELTS exam or any of the other exams I showed you in a previous video. If you haven't watched those videos yet, they're on my channel. Just look for the immigration videos and you should find them easily. And today I'm going to show you another step before you apply to immigrate to Canada that you have to take to see if you're eligible to immigrate or not, because basically you can assess your application before applying to immigrate and see where if there are any deficiencies, what do you need to get, what paperwork is required, do you need to retake the English language exam and score higher, and all of that. So let's dig into this. For those of you who are new on the channel, this channel is all about clinical pharmacy practice. I teach you how to become clinical pharmacists, how to advance your career, and also teach you how to pass the OSCE exam. And I recently started a new chapter about immigrating to Canada, so I'm trying to help those who want to immigrate to Canada but don't know how to do it. I am not an immigration consultant, and I said that in my previous videos, but I just happen to know how to navigate the website, the official website for the immigration services, and that's all I do here. So whatever advice I give you is actually my own advice. I'm not an immigration consultant. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you're interested in any of the content I just mentioned. I'm gonna go ahead and click on English here for English language, and this is the website. And I'm not gonna go through everything again. I'm gonna scroll down to where it says immigrate. Click on that. Now there are so many options here, like I told you before. I'm going to go ahead and click on express entry. This is the most common program that pharmacists apply for, or I should say skilled workers who work in other countries. And then here it took me to the immigrate through the express entry. There are lots of information on the page, and again every link of these will take you to another page, which could be confusing. Don't worry about that. Now we're going to go through each and every one of these over time. What I want you to do now is to go to how express entry works and click on that. Here it explains the system a little bit. You'll find three categories here. The first one is the Canadian experience class, for those skilled workers who have Canadian work experience. Most of you don't have Canadian work experience, so you can ignore this. But if you do, if you have Canadian work experience, it actually gives you points, so you should learn more here. Most of you will fall in the middle category here, the Federal Skilled Worker Program for foreign work experience applicants. And if you want to learn more about this program, just click on learn more. And then there's the qualified skilled trade. That's not for pharmacists, so I'm going to skip that. But that's not what I wanted to show you still. If you keep scrolling down, you'll find that step 1, find out if you're eligible. This is the important part that I wanted to talk to you about today. There's a way to find out if you're eligible before you actually apply. And it says here, answer a few questions to see if you meet the minimum requirements. And down here, step 2, check your score. If you're eligible for one or more of the express entry programs and submit your profile, you'll be ranked in the express entry pool, which I talked to you about before, using the comprehensive ranking system. Okay, so we need to see if we are eligible to actually apply. And then if we're eligible, they'll give you something like a code or something, and then you can apply for the express entry pool, and hopefully you'll get picked. And of course, get your documents ready. And if you click on this one, it will tell you exactly what documents you need to get ready. And finally, fill out your profile and get the invitation to apply. We're not going to go through all of this today. I'm going to go back up here, answer a few questions to see if I'm eligible. Okay. And the questions basically will analyze the following: your nationality, where you're from, your age, your language ability, your family members who reside in Canada or are Canadian citizens, if you have any, your education, your work experience, how many years of work experience do you have, and if you have a job offer in Canada. All right, down here, if you scroll down, there's a button that if you click, it says check your eligibility, and I'm going to click that one here. So this is where it took me. It took me to this page, and it says, so there's a first question here: which province or territory do you plan to live in? So anyone coming to Canada must have a plan. Where do they want to live in Canada? Canada is a huge country, and there are so many provinces. Some of them are abundant of people, and some of them have very, very fewer people because of the weather conditions, of course. So you need to know where do you want to come. So you need to do some homework, study Canada as a country, see where pharmacists are needed. And I can tell you now that pharmacists are needed everywhere in Canada, not just in one or two provinces. But you can take a look at the different provinces, what do they offer, how much would you get paid as a pharmacist in the community versus the hospitals. And I can assure you that it's different between, it's not the same pay between provinces. So what a clinical pharmacist, for example, gets paid in in Toronto is different from what they get paid in Calgary in Alberta. Is different from Vancouver, BC. So there's a wide range, and you need to know where do you want to live. Also, you need to know where do you want to be. There are communities, like if you come from from India or from Pakistan or from the Middle East, or there are huge populations of Middle Eastern people, Indian people, Pakistanis in Toronto, for example. So do you want to live in a community where there are a lot of people from your country? Is that your goal? Or do you want to live somewhere where you don't have people from your country? It's all up to you, really. And you will find areas in Canada where you will not see anyone from your country at all. So if you practice a different religion, if you're not Christian, then let's say you're Muslim, you want to be in a place where there are mosques, where there are Muslim people. If you're Jewish, same thing. Do your homework. Most people think that they should immigrate to Toronto, which is the biggest city of Canada for immigrants. I would say don't think so, even if somebody told you that. It might not be the best option for immigrants, actually. And most people who immigrate to Toronto or Ontario, the province, end up later on moving to another province because of the job opportunities, the low pay rates, and many other reasons. Also, the crime rate is higher and all that stuff. So we're gonna pick a province here. It says down here, if you don't know yet, choose the province or territory you are most interested in. So let's click here. All the provinces will pop up. Of course, my advice to you here, do not go with something that you don't know. Like, you don't go with Yukon. You don't even know what Yukon is. Don't just click Yukon and say, okay, I like the name, I'm gonna go with Yukon. Google Yukon and see where it is and how's life there, and then before you make a choice, okay? This is just an example. Same thing with Northwest Territories. And when you Google the jobs in these areas, Northwest Territories or Yukon, you probably will see huge salaries with bonuses too. Again, do your homework, okay? For now, for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go with British Columbia. This is where I live. Next. Canada's official languages are English and French. It's telling you need to submit a language test results for all programs under the express entry. So here you go. It's telling you that you have to have a language test result before you submit your application. So before we even do this part, we have to go and apply for the IELTS exam. And I mentioned all the different exams on another video. Go ahead and watch that video if you want to learn more about it. You need to take the exam, get the results first, and then come here and see if you're eligible or not. And don't worry about the exam expiring, the results expiring, because it expires in 2 years. And there's an important note here. It says, even if English or French is your first language, you still have to take that exam. You see how complicated this process sounds, right? Which language test did you take for the first official language? So I'm gonna go ahead and do IELTS, because this is the most common English language test that immigrants take. Again, because it's widely available in all countries, almost all countries, I should say. I'm going to pick IELTS. Next. It will ask you, what date did you take this test? They want to make sure that the test did not expire. It's not more than 2 years ago. So I'll go ahead and say 2022, month, November, day, anything. I'm just picking up a date. I just want to show you the result from this little test. Now it will ask you to input your test results for each module. So there are 4 modules in the IELTS exam: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And I'm going to pick up random numbers. It goes from less than 3 all the way up to 9. 9 is the perfect score, like the max score. I will go ahead with a 7 for all of them. I picked 7.5 by mistake. 7, which is an average score. It's actually average high. The average score in the IELTS, I think, is about 5 for people who don't speak English as a first language. But if you speak English as a first language, you can easily score more than a 7, actually, which would be better. But I'm going to go ahead with a 7. This is the average high, which you should be aiming for. You should be aiming for this or higher. You should not aim for less than that. And I'm going to tell you why later. Click next. Do you have other language results? Because I told you before in the previous video, you can take English and French if you want. But in our case, I'm going to say no. I don't really speak French. In the last 3 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have in Canada? Now, one thing I have to mention, if you're gonna apply on behalf of yourself, you're not gonna use an immigration consultant or nobody will help you. You have to read and understand every single word before answering a question. When you start your application, I can tell you now that there will be many application forms that you have to fill with your information, your family's information, and even information about your dad, your mom, your siblings, your brothers and sisters, and your if you have kids, your kids' information and all that. So pay excellent attention to detail when it comes to these application forms. You can easily read this as how many years of skilled work experience and ignore the rest, and then you'll put whatever, one or more year, for example, because you have a lot of skilled work experience. But if you continue the sentence, it says, do you have in Canada? Do you have any experience in Canada? So that will change the answer to none for most of you, because you didn't work in Canada before. You're trying to come to Canada to work. And then it says here, it must have been full-time. So part-time or anything else doesn't count. If you worked in Canada full-time, put it here. If you didn't, say none. And then during this period, which tier of the National Occupational Classification is most of the experience in? If you don't have any Canadian work experience, choose none of the above. Again, we're going to go with none of the above. And there are so many tiers here. I will show you what does it mean. I spoke about the tiers in a previous video too. As a pharmacist, you are a tier 1, and I'm going to show it to you soon. Don't make these things, these terms scare you. Which tier of the National Occupation Classification is? Too many terms here that they didn't even explain earlier, but suddenly it appears in front of you when you're doing this test. So don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to get this information. Everything is on their website, but you don't need it now. So next. More questions. In the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have? Question mark. So they want the general skilled work experience that you have in the last 10 years. And then it says it must have been continuous, paid, full-time, and in only one occupation. Okay? So how many years of full-time pharmacy experience do you have in the last 10 years? Most of you will have 6 or more, but some of you will have 2 or 3, some of you will have 4 or 5, some of you are still new, 1 year. Pick whatever you have. I have 6 or more, so I'm going to go with 6 or more, but you pick whatever experience you have. And then it says, in the last 5 years, do you have at least 2 years of experience in one of the following qualified trades occupations that include occupational code, this one, and occupational codes beginning with this. Okay. Now, this is something that would scare you immediately, and you probably will give up. Right here, you'll give up because you don't know what does this mean. You don't know if you meet any of these occupational codes. Don't worry. Down here it says if you are not sure of the NOC, which is the National Occupation Coding, you can find it here. So I'll open this in a new tab. Sorry, it's a National Occupational Classification, not coding. And then you scroll down, blah, 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 all of that, scroll down. And down here, there's the filter items. Just type pharmacist, if you're a pharmacist. Pharmacists, our NOC starts with a 3, 1, and then 120. This is our NOC code, the National Occupation Classification for pharmacists. If you are a technician, this is your code. If you are a pharmacy technical assistant or pharmacy assistant, this is your code. That's all you need from this page. You don't need anything else. And also, I remember I told you I'm going to show you the tiers. Here you go. Pharmacists, you're at tier category 1. And if you scroll up, here it explains what are the tiers. Tier 0 is management occupations. Tier 1 occupations that usually require a university degree, and tier 2, 3, 4, if you want to read through, you could. Anyways, our NOC code starts with a 3-1. I'll go back to this page. So basically, it's not a 6-2, it's not a 7-2, 8-2, 9-2, 9-3, or 6-3. None of these belong to pharmacists, so the answer will be none. And then next. See, it's very easy. How much money in Canadian dollars will you bring to Canada? All right, now for this one, this is a tricky question, okay? Because you probably don't know how much money you want to bring to Canada, right? Or how much money would you have at the time when you're ready to come to Canada? How much money would you have back at that time? And are you going to bring it all, or are you bringing some of it? You don't know, right? So if you can easily say less than 13,000, but it says right there, not enough settlement funds, or you can say 35,000 or more, but you don't know. How would you know that you will have that much money in 6 months or more from now? So let's see what the question mark here says. The government of Canada does not give financial support to new immigrants. A person must prove that they have enough money that is not bound by debts or obligations to support themselves and their family members after they arrive in Canada. See a table which shows how much money you will need to immigrate to Canada. So there is a table that shows you how much money you should bring in. I'll open that in a new tab. I'll close this one here. I'll come back to answer this question. Let's see what the tab says. No, this is the old tab. Where did it didn't open? Huh. Okay. Did I close it by mistake? Hold on, let me grab it. No, it should be there. It was one of the tabs. All right, we're back to this table thing. So I'll open that in a new tab and close this one here. Go to the new tab, and then it says proof of funds. And scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. You can read as much as you want, but I'm going to scroll down, and here it says number of family members. That includes you. So if you are immigrating all by yourself, that will be one person. If you're immigrating with your wife, that will be two people, you and her. If you're immigrating with your wife and a kid, that will be three people, and so on. Okay? So let's say you're immigrating all by yourself. You need to bring to Canada with you 13,310 Canadian dollars. That's the amount, the minimum amount that you have to bring with you. So you can't choose anything less than that. And that's basically why it says here less than 13,310, not enough settlement funds. It's not enough for one person, and definitely not enough for more than one person. So let's say you're immigrating all by yourself. So you're going to pick up the second option, 13,310 up to 16,569, which would be good for two people. How many family members do you have? You're going to click 1 if you're here all by yourself. If you need an explanation to the question, click on the question mark. Include yourself, your spouse or partner, and any children that you have, even if your spouse, partner, or children will not come to Canada. Do not include your parents or any relatives. So parents and relatives are not included, so only you, your spouse or partner, and your children, if any. If you have no spouse or partner, you don't have a spouse, you don't have a wife, you don't have a partner, and you don't have any dependent children, pick 1. Okay, again, this is a tricky question, right? How many family members do you have? Not how many family members are coming to Canada. So here you have it. You have to include yourself, your spouse or partner, and any children that you have, even if they're not coming to Canada. So if you're married, but your wife is not coming to Canada, or you're engaged and your fiance is not coming to Canada, And if you have kids and they're not coming to Canada, you still have to count them and put the number here. But don't count your parents, don't count any other relatives, such as brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, wherever. Don't count those people. Let's say you have a wife, but she's not planning to come with you. You still put 2. You're coming alone, but you still put 2. Weird, right? If you're coming all by yourself, you don't have a wife or a fiance or kids or anything, just put 1. I'm going to put 1 now and see where that takes us. Your session has expired. Now this is a glitch in the website, obviously. I'm going to try to go back and refresh it. All right, I had to go back and fill all the information again. This is the next question after I mentioned that only one person is immigrating. It says, do you have a valid job offer in Canada? I'll say no. Most of you will not have a job offer in Canada, and you cannot get a job offer in Canada as a pharmacist before you come to Canada. This is impossible. I can tell you, I can guarantee this to you right now. What is your date of birth? I'll just put a bit, whatever random date of birth here, 1994, March 11th. And then it says, what is the highest level of education for which you have earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, or have had an educational credential assessment? An educational credential assessment is basically an organization that assesses foreign credentials. So if you have a bachelor's degree from, say, from South Africa or from any other country, you'll have to evaluate your credentials using the ECAs. So it doesn't have to be a Canadian degree, but you need to do the educational credential assessment for your certificate. ECAs must be from an approved agency. So there are certain approved agencies in Canada in the last 5 years. If you did not earn a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, you may need to have your foreign education assessed by an agency approved by Immigration and Refugees. Okay. They must show that it is valid and equal to a complete Canadian credential. Most of the pharmacy programs are accredited. So the highest level, I'm going to go with a bachelor's degree. Some of you will have a master's degree. You can do that. You can click on master's, or a doctorate if you have a doctorate degree. They want the highest, whatever the highest is. I'm going to go with bachelor's because this is the most popular degree for pharmacists. Then it took me to this page here. It says, check all that apply. I have studied full-time in Canada for 2 years or more. That doesn't apply to you. I have at least, of course, if it does apply to you, you click on that. If it doesn't, for most of you, it won't. Don't click it. I have at least 1 year of full-time experience in Canada. Most of you will not have that, so don't check it. I have a relative in Canada who is 18 years or old or older, a citizen or permanent resident of Canada, and is my parent, child, grandparent, grandchild, sibling, aunt, uncle, niece, or nephew. So basically, if you have any of these relatives in Canada, you can check this one here. If they are 18 years or older. None of the above. Most of you will say none of the above. I'm going to click next. Is it going to be glitchy again? Please don't be glitchy. I don't want to fill all the information again. Now it says somewhere on the website, I read it earlier, that there are some glitchy pages and they want us to report them to the support team. So don't get frustrated. Millions of people are doing this at the same time, so that's probably why it's slow and glitchy. Now it says, what is your marital status? If you're married, you say married, divorced, legally separated, whatever. Never married, single. I'm going to go with that one. Again, marriage give you extra points, I believe. I read that somewhere. Okay, So here are the results. We're done basically with this little test. It says to apply online, you will need this personal reference code. So in order not to take this test again, just copy this code and save it somewhere in your computer or phone. Now let's see what the results are. Based on your answers, you appear to be eligible for express entry. Okay, that's great. So the answer that I gave today, the random answer that I gave today, tells the system that I'm eligible to apply for the express entry, and says here's the steps. Step 1, record the personal reference code, which is up here. Step 2, print this page. So this page you have to print it. Step 3, register to submit an online profile. So you register an account with Immigration Canada. Register to get a key. And then step 4, when you sign in, after you do the registration, sign in using your username and password. And you'll be automatically directed to your account, and then you'll be prompted to register for an account if you are a first-time user. Just follow the steps. And then step 5, enter your personal reference code, the one that you got above here, this one. Enter it. Whenever it tells you to enter it, just enter it. And then after you select express entry, you enter that code. Okay, we're done with step 5 now. Step 6, once you've entered the code, you will be guided through the following steps to complete your profile. And then step 7, after you submit your profile, you will see a page that confirms that your profile has been submitted. And shortly after that, you will receive a confirmation message in your account. So it tells you basically everything. And all you need is pretty much this code here, and then to register an account. And then from there, just follow the steps that they'll tell you. Most probably, they'll ask you to upload your certificates, your language certificates and all that, or your educational certificates and whatnot. We're going to go through that later, all the required documents. But this is how you know if you're eligible to apply or not. Some people will get a different result. Now, I don't know if I can go back without having to, now it says exit questionnaire. If I can go back, let's see. Oh, I can go back. Okay, good. What I want to show you was your last family. Oh, it took me somewhere else. That's kind of weird because we didn't get these questions before. Okay, so maybe we cannot go back. But what I wanted to show you is, okay, I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back at that step that I wanted to show you. All right, everyone. So what I did now is that I went back and I answered all the questions again. The only difference I made is that I changed the IELTS exam results from, remember we did 7 for each module, I changed it to 5 for each module, and everything else, all the answers were the same. I didn't make any other changes. And here's my results now. It says based on your answers, you do not appear to be eligible for express entry. So I'm not eligible based on my new results. Or the new information that I entered. So that shows you how important is the language exam results, and that's why I keep saying try to score higher, as high as possible, even above 7. Now I can go back and redo this and try a 6 and see if it works. I'm pretty sure that even a 6 wouldn't work, but you can try that on your own too. And see if see what's the lowest possible language result that would result in accepting you in the express entry. But yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to show you in addition to all the other information. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this process. Yeah, give it a try. Whenever you have time, go ahead. I'll leave the website and the website address in the description under the video so that you can log in. It's CIC pharmacist.gc.ca. Very easy. But I'm going to leave it in the description part under the video. Go ahead and follow the steps and give it a try once, twice, 3 times. Enter the information and see how much you score. It gives you a little bit of a confidence as to whether to apply or now or not, and so on. If you're really serious about applying, go ahead and study for the IELTS, because there are books that you're gonna have to read, and you'll have to do some studying. I'll see if I have any soft copy books that I can share with you in the description part. But again, taking a course might help if your English is not really that good. If you have a really good English language, you've been practicing a lot where you live, or you speak English where you live, then you shouldn't have a problem. It's a very easy exam. Don't scare yourself. It shouldn't be an issue for you. You probably will score over a 7. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.